Thank you so much for joining Sharebird's The Essential Go-to-Market Show, tips and strategies where we offer short video content and interview-style conversations with global product marketing leaders. I'm your host, Yasmeen Turayhi. Now, whether you're an early-stage startup or a public company, almost everyone struggles with the same question. What does it take to have a successful product launch? Today, I'll be talking to Francisco Bram. He is the head of global product marketing at Uber, where he leads a team of product marketers, and his team currently oversees a portfolio of both B2B and B2C products and services such as Uber Eats for merchants, Uber for business, and Uber Health. Thank you so much for joining us today, Francisco.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Francisco, can you tell us about some of your top learnings and takeaways on launching a product successfully in market?
Absolutely. I think the one thing to keep in mind for any successful go-to-market plan is that content is truly the atomic particle of any successful launch. And just like an actual atomic particle, it can have a negative electron or a positive proton or a neutral neutron charge, meaning your content will either be perceived negatively, positively, or have no impact whatsoever. The majority of content that is created is neutral, doesn't move the needle. And then there is obviously the content that is really impactful. And so the most important thing that I've learned throughout my career is uncover the truth about your audience and then design content that really is grounded in a deep understanding of your audience. And then before you launch, experiment, experiment, and experiment. I think a lot of the times what we find is that people generalize a lot of the content. They assume the one size fits all, or they assume that they're targeting everyone in the market, which it's not always the case for every product. So the goal, and one of the things that I've learned, is really learn about your audience, build a journey map, identify gaps, create a narrative that really helps your product stand out in terms of fulfilling those needs of that particular customer, and then experiment before you launch that content.
That's really great. I love the way that you describe that positive, negative, and neutral. And I think a lot of companies don't spend enough time really thinking through who their customer is and what kind of content they actually care about. And I've seen a lot of neutral content over the years. So,
Right.
and can you talk to us about some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen companies make in product marketing? Maybe you could share an example from your own experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest mistake, and this is across every industry, is that companies start with the what. They are a product-centric or a service-centric company. That's core to their business. And so the mistake that a lot of marketers or even product marketers make is that they build a go-to-market plan around what the company does, what the company has to offer. And this is probably because a lot of product marketers are working very closely with product teams. But this is what I call product feature-centric launch. And this type of content and channel strategy tends to focus mostly on product features, superior tech, innovative technology, and it always misses the mark almost every time. Because studies have shown that when it comes to purchasing and decision-making purchasing, human beings, regardless if it's B2B or B2C, there's always this notion that B2B is more rational. Yes, to a certain extent, but it's still a human being. According to a professor at Harvard, 95% of all purchasing decisions are subconscious and driven by emotional values. So in other words, purchasing a product is not intended for someone to just have the newest shiny object, but it's intended to actually make them feel better. So purchasing a product is the means for a desired outcome, a state of mind. And the biggest mistake I've seen is thinking that people want to buy whatever it's new, whatever it's most advanced, but it's not true. People want to buy new products because of the feeling, state of mind, experience, perceived status of owning those things. And in the past, I've been also guilty of making that mistake myself. So when I was working for Siemens, we were producing medical devices for hospitals. And we assumed, because it's such a technical environment, you're talking to physicians, you're talking to sometimes physicists or technologists at the hospital, that you need to lead with features, such as this product can give you scanning of 4,000 pixel resolution and can allow you to actually reduce scanning time by 30%. And in reality, what we found is that the product didn't perform as well when we decided to relaunch the product with a different cover, a different name, and updated messaging, exactly same product underneath the hood, when we actually led with how the patient is going to feel, how this is going to be better for your workflow, and how your hospital in general is going to be able to see more patients because of the speed that the device brings. It completely changed the way people perceive the same exact product. And so I've learned that, in a way, I would say the hard way, but actually was a great learning, that you should always lead with a why, never with a what.
That's such a powerful point. I've seen so many companies make that mistake. It's all feature based. And I think we're moving a little bit towards solution based. But I think remembering that these are humans buying these products and we are highly emotional creatures is an incredibly important point. So, last question before we wrap up. What are some of the things that you think people should be thinking about when it comes to their go to market checklist?
I'm going to say the things that most people probably are aware, and then I'm going to throw in one that most people, I would say 99% of people do not consider, and it's extremely critical. Checklist, I would say, make sure you have insights about who you're targeting, your audience insights. Make sure you build audience-centric narratives, not product-centric narratives. Make sure you have an experimentation plan in place, testing different pieces of content in different channels, testing photography versus illustration. So make sure you have an experimentation plan. Make sure you have a well thought out product name or brand name or service name that is actually also tested. Make sure you, in your channel plan, like when you develop a channel plan, that you consider all the 3 buckets of channels: owned channels, earned channels, and paid channels. Make sure you have cross-functional alignment with clear owners and responsibilities. You have regional buy-in if you're a global role and you're trying to launch across multiple regions. Make sure you have done translation, localization, and trademark searches. So as part of a new product launch, you have KPIs and a measurement plan. Until now, I didn't say anything that was revolutionary. I just probably said everything that we should be considering in a go-to-market plan. Not everyone does all the things that I just mentioned, but one thing that most people don't do, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is extremely important, is a pre-mortem analysis. A lot of the times we do a post-mortem after we do a launch, and we do look back and see the things that worked, things that didn't work. A pre-mortem is the reverse of that. It actually came from surgeons that before they operate on someone, they list out all the things that could potentially go right and all the things that could potentially go wrong, so that they can actually plan to ensure that they have covered for all the things that could potentially go wrong and really reinforce the things that could go right. I think anticipating pitfalls increases the go-to-market success. So do a pre-mortem analysis with your cross-functional team, do an exercise even with people outside your cross-functional team. There's a couple exercises you could do, but this is going to be critical to ensure you anticipate any potential failure in your go-to-market plan.
That's awesome. You surprised me. I thought I heard everything before. Love that. So what's your main takeaway on being a good product marketer? Just the last thing that you want to tell our audience, your main takeaway on this. Maybe it's the role, maybe it's the industry. What do you want to tell people?
Say a great product marketer is someone who represents a customer internally. And it seems easy when I say it. It's extremely difficult to do because you're going to be faced with barriers from the product team, from sales team. Everyone has different objectives internally, but being the voice of customer internally, that's what makes a great PMM. And you can see that because they're passionate about their customers. They're always the one asking, is this the best we could do for our customers? Is this relevant for our customers? Is our customers willing to pay for this? And by doing so, you create a incredible reputation around you that you truly understand the market. And in fact, in order to be the voice of customer, you have to understand the market. You have to speak to customers, you have to do research, you have to plan time to actually test and experiment with customers' concepts. And so by being the voice of customer internally, you can actually influence product decisions, sales strategies, marketing campaigns, and you can even influence business long-term strategic objectives because you truly have an understanding of where your customers' needs, pain points, and potential trends are that are shifting their behavior.
Very thoughtful. Yes. Great takeaway. Francisco, thank you so much for your time. And where can people find you if they want to learn more about who you are and your work?
Absolutely. Find me on LinkedIn, Francisco Bram, or you can also reach out to me directly on my website, www.fbram.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining and stay tuned for upcoming shows with product marketing leaders from startups to public companies as they share some of their best tips and strategies on go-to-market. And please be sure to send us a note and tell us what you learned and tag us. And for those of you looking for more material on go-to-market, you can check out my book, Product Marketing Debunked, on Amazon or one of my many articles on Medium. And if you're serious about go-to-market, I offer both recorded and online go-to-market classes. Details in the bio. Thanks again.